Let's just get started with some questions. The first one being, why did you join Apex, right? Like, why did you choose this program? What convinced you to join?
I think the main thing for me was just like new experience. I wanted to travel to a new place, and I worked as a nanny before and a behavioral technician with kids with autism. So I kind of had the experience, and I really just wanted a mix up, I guess, something different. I feel like I haven't really traveled, so I wanted to see a new place, new experience.
Awesome. How did you feel in the beginning about being in-home living care, right? Like, what did that look like for you? Were your expectations the same as the reality?
Yeah, I think it was better than what I kind of expected. My host family, I think, is just great too. They made me feel very comfortable. I kind of went into it very nervous of like the comfortableness of it, like living with somebody, being in their space all the time. Had no clue what to expect for that. But going into it, I automatically felt comfortable. I didn't feel, like I didn't belong there. I think that it met my expectations, exceeded them a little bit. Very comfortable going into it. It was nothing like I was expecting in a good way.
I love that.
So then how has your experience with Apex Social impacted you personally?
It really forced me, I guess, out of my comfort zone a little bit. I was very shy going into it because you're forced to be by yourself. So you're kind of forced to be independent and be in social situations that I wasn't comfortable with because I needed friends and stuff. So really pushed me out of my comfort zone to be social and make friends and put myself out there in a way I probably would never have if I never was in that situation. So I'm very grateful for.
That's amazing because you see that, right? Like you had to start networking again, right? And finding your place in a new state, in a new city.
Yeah, it's like,
you know anybody in Florida?
No.
Wow.
I mean, my aunt, but she lives in Panama City, so completely the other end of Florida. So I knew absolutely nobody going down here. So that definitely was like my main experience, was just really being forced out of that comfort zone and being forced to be independent and learning on that, and that, was a good thing.
I love that.
I don't know. Oh,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Victoria.
You feel like that too, but I feel like moving so far away from home where you don't know anybody also gives you the opportunity to really find yourself, right?
Yeah.
Find your place and who you are and what you want.
I was saying that was a big thing because it showed me like a lot of what I wanted to do, like future wise. And, like you're alone most of the time going, before you meet people, gives you a lot of time to think, and, you're completely alone. So it gives you a lot of time to think of yourself, and it showed me what I want to do in the future, what I don't want to do. So very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you think was the most rewarding part of being a care professional here with Apex Social?
I think being a part of my host family's family and seeing my host child, him grow, and he has a lot of like speech delays and stuff, and just seeing him exceed in that and make so much progress with his speech and everything, and seeing how he's becoming more mature and interacting with more people, that I feel like is the most rewarding thing to me. I love watching it. I love watching him with his sister. He has a twin sister. So the way they play together, I love it. That's the most rewarding thing.
Is his twin sister neurotypical?
Yes. So she's so good with him too. She's so patient, and she's also 14. Obviously they're twins. And seeing like she's so young, but she is so good with him. The way that she is with him, it's like you can see that love, and I love watching that.
Yeah, that's great. That it's that unconditional love, right, that you have for your loved ones. It's amazing to be able to witness that so closely.
I was saying, her being so young, and she's 14, so like being in that teenager stage, and she's still so like patient and loving towards him, and goes out of her way and makes time for him all the time to play. And it's just, I love to see it. It's so heartwarming.
That's amazing. And go ahead, Victoria.
So how does your experience as a care professional help you develop new skills or gain new experiences?
I guess kind of like I said before, a big part was I was so shy. So it's really helped me get out there and, learn how to network and be more social. Also, just with the therapies, I do a lot of ABA therapy with him. So that's helped me grow a lot in that career and my patience level and being more empathetic towards somebody that can't necessarily communicate what they want, and being patient and talking him through his emotions and helping him react appropriately. It's taught me a lot of that, a lot more.
That's amazing. So how do you think that the AICP program and the assistance of having an ETR coach has helped you navigate through those challenges with your host child?
I think just being like the best support system you could probably have, just from, like the host family has an expectation, and being that like mediator between the host family's expectations and helping you achieve those expectations, and really talking you through that and giving you tips and advice, and just being a big support system for stuff that you don't know how to deal with. They're always there if you need a call and you have a question. And I think just being that mediator between your host family and yourself to give the host child the best possible care you could give them.
That's great.
Awesome. All right. So what do you think sets Apex apart from like other caregiving organizations, agencies, or even like, regular nannies or babysitters?
I think it's, to me personally, because I've worked, I've nannied before, I babysat like my whole life. So this is a lot more personal. I feel like you almost feel like a part of the family, not really like you work for the family. It's you're working with the family. It's everybody supports each other. You help the parents and the parents are supporting you. And it's just a lot more personal. You feel connected to them in a way that I haven't felt, just nannying or babysitting for a family. And it's like they actually care. And Apex itself as an agency, the same thing, they really care to see your experience, and they actually care about how you're doing, and they're always there, even if they're technically off work. You can text them and they'll call you right away. And it's just that support that I feel like you don't get anywhere else. To me, I feel
love that you feel so supported. It's our goal to strive for you to always have somebody that you can connect with. Yes. Right? So that if there's an urgent thing that you really need to talk through, whether it is with the ETR coach or if it's a more personal, just your experience with the host family that you need to discuss with your ACD, that's really what we want to do, is to be there for you in your journey. And I'm happy that you feel that way.
And especially being like so far away from home, you need that support. Not even just with your work, personally too. It's a hard thing to go through. So I feel, I felt that support all the way through, personally and, with my job professionally.
Yeah, that's great. So what would you say to somebody that is considering becoming care professional? What advice would you give them? Like, what words of wisdom do you have?
I would say to really think of what you want, because you're going to be doing this for a year. It's something, you really think of your schedule, what kind of work you want to do, how old, like write a list of expectations that you want, and don't match with a family until they really meet them. Just like don't rush to match with a family just because you want to start working right away. I think it really will pay off in the long run, just finding that perfect family to be with. Yeah, and going through those talking interviews, because it's frustrating, to talk to a million different people, but I would really wait until you find the perfect person that matches everything that you want. because it's a year, it's a decent amount of time, not too long, but and you're gonna be living with them. It's something that you want to connect with them on a personal level too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm really excited that you've been having a very, great time in Florida and that you seem like you have connected really well with your host family. But let's talk about, what do you feel like was the more difficult part about being a care professional?
I guess really just living where you work. Like, you work these long days at like an office and you can go home and kind of decompress, but you work a long day here and then you walk 5 feet and then, you're still there. So it's like hard to like get that, space, I guess, that space
Totally.
from, because that's like, when I worked at other places, it's like you had a horrible day at work and then you drive home and you're in a completely different space. But like here, it's like you're in that same space. It's kind of hard to, sometimes it might feel a little like suffocating.
Yeah.
So that's when you gotta find a different outlet, something else that can decompress you then.
What have you found that has worked for you?
Walks. It's nice here all the time. So I go on a lot of walks. I find myself, night walks when I get off work, walking around. Honestly, lots of walks.
Yeah. You feel like
Nature outside helps me. So I like, just listening to music and just going for walks. Because it gets me out driving around, anything that's out of the house is what I like to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really focusing on that self-care, making sure that after the day you take care of yourself. So next year you're ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah. We always encourage that self-care. And, what I've had this conversation with many other care professionals, that when there is a bad day, which everybody has at work, it is good to have somebody that they can call, being their ACD or their ETR coach, to talk it through, right?
Yeah.
These were the struggles that I had today. I just need to talk about them for a little bit, because we all have that, where we have a stressful or day where we're like, oh man, like today was just not a good day. And how do we get past that, right? By talking it out, getting it off of our chest, right? It doesn't do anybody any good to have it sitting on your chest. And, even finding out other counterparts that do the same thing that you do, right? Like, I know that you've met with some of the other care professionals, and sitting in that setting where you're all doing the same thing, like,
I was
how
gonna
does
say
it
that
feel to all talk about that?
that was a big like support too. And it's fun, everybody, because you can talk to your mom, your dad, but they don't really understand exactly, it's really good to have somebody to where like the other care professionals, where they know exactly this, they've been through the same exact situation, and and you laugh and you joke and you tell stories, and it's just, that was a big part of it too. That is very helpful.
That's
To have
awesome.
people.
Yeah. So, just to conclude, give us like a moment that you've experienced with your host child that you're like, okay, this was it. This was the moment that I was like, this was worth it. Like doing this, moving away from my family and being here for a year. Like, give us a moment that was like special to you.
There's so many. The main one that just when you say that I think about is my host child. He's very low functioning, so we don't have a lot of those like interactive moments. The eye contact isn't very strong. He is in his own little world a lot most of the time. And I remember we were in the bathroom and I coughed, and then he like mimicked it, and then he started laughing. And then he looked in the mirror and he made this like crazy noise. And then he like looked right at me dead in the eye and waited for me to laugh. And then when I started laughing, then he just died laughing. Like he made a joke and he waited for my reaction to it. And when I reacted, he was like, oh, you thought my joke was funny? I'm going to laugh too. And that was just so special because he's never done that before. And for him to like make a joke like that and then laugh about it and make the eye contact, it was very special because it wasn't often that happens.
Yeah. So more like that friendship interaction with somebody that he used to be his pal, right? Like being you.
It was like friends, like, you know, you're just like laughing with your friend in there, you know. It was so fun. And then lately too, he's been a lot more interactive. So seeing that and just seeing his progress with that is just very special to me. It's like your hard work, you can see it paying off.
That just gave me goosebumps. It is beautiful. It's beautiful what you do, Olivia. I think that it's incredible where this path can take you. And, you know, I think the biggest question that people might have is, where do you go from here, right? Like when the program ends, like, where does Olivia want to go? What does Olivia want to do?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I guess like, see, like that's what this big thing, like I don't think like the live-in care necessarily is for me, but I'm so glad that I did it because then it showed me what I want to do. And I find the most enjoyment with my host child, his speech and his progress and stuff. And that made me realize like maybe that's something that I want to specialize in, is like speech and helping that. And that's something I probably never would have figured out if I never did this. So I think for me, you know, I'm going to stay in Florida. I love it for a little longer. But then take that different route of going back to school and getting my degree in maybe speech instead of the ABA and the live-in care. For me personally, I just didn't. I like my freedom a little bit more than it was nice.
Totally understandable to want to explore other avenues as you you know, get yourself into your career and see what other opportunities are out there. I think it's amazing that this experience opened that up for you, right? Like it opened up the way of trying to see other things that you can experience and other avenues you can take in life, and that the care doesn't have to just be live-in care. It doesn't have to be just one-on-one interactive care. There's just so many ways that you can help the community and still be involved in doing what you love, which is working with these children.
To say, and it's like you don't really know what you want to do until you're in that situation and you're like, I don't necessarily want to do this anymore, but it helped me realize something else that I wanted to do. So I'm very grateful for it, you know. And it's like you kind of meet lifelong like connections and meeting new friends. And I met so many people down here and the host family and the host family's friends, and you know, it is an amazing experience and I'm so glad that I did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Olivia, do you have any questions for us? Like anything that, you know, you want to ask us as we, you know, wrap up this conversation?
I don't think so. I can't think of any.
Okay. Awesome. Anything that you'd like to say, Vicky, still?
No, I just think Olivia did a great job describing what the experience is like. And you can see, or I can see how much Olivia really loves her host family and loves her host child. And it's so heartwarming to see that kind of care. So I want to say I'm really, really proud of you. And I think you're doing an amazing job with your host child.
Thank you. Nice to hear.
To you, Olivia. You have definitely made an impact in your host child's life, and you'll remember that, right? Like for years to come. So that's really exciting. And with that, we'll wrap it up, and we wish everybody a beautiful rest of your day.
Yes, thank you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.